Shalom to all. Shabbos 15, chapter 15, Mishnah 1 and 2.
Shalom to all. Today we're going to learn Masechah Shabbos, Parak Tes Vav, Mishnah Aleph and Mishnah Beis. And today's Mishnah is we learn B'schus of Shalom, Zalman Zugas Amar Siyat V'chayis Chaltzayim. They should be given for that Sachat Tzlachan Siyat Dishmaya, good health, Parnas of Shafan, Cult of Zela, and B'schus. As the Bas Rachel, Shishi B'zechar Fan Zivik Hagun B'Karav Mamish. Mishnah Aleph starts with discussing the Isra of Kaisher and Matir, tying and untying. So the Mishnah tells us, Eluk Sharm Shechayav and Alayan, the following knots are those that one would be chayiv for making on Shabbos. Kesher Agamalin, a camel driver's knot, the Kesher Sapanin, and a sailor's knot. Now the reason why a person would be chayiv for tying these knots is because these are very specific. What's a Kesher Agamalin? So they would make a hole in a camel's nose, thread a rope through it, and knot it. Then when they need to lead the camel, a different rope was tied to this one in its nose. And a similar thing was done with a boat. A hole was made, a rope tied to it, and when the boat was going to be tied to the pier, a different rope was tied to this one. Now the reason one is chayiv for making for such knots is because it's a Kesher Shel Kayama. It's a knot which is meant to last. It's permanent. In other words, it's not temporary, so a person's chayiv for making such a knot on Shabbos. And the Mishnah continues, the same way he's chayiv for making such a knot, kachu chayiv al teron. So too he's chayiv for untying such a knot. Now Rav Meir says, Kol kesher shu yachal atir ba'achas miyadav, any knot that he's able to untie with just one hand, in chayav and olav, a person would not be chayiv for making such a knot, even though it's a kesher shal kayama. Even though he's making it to last forever, still he's not going to be chayiv for it because he's able to untie it with one hand. But that halacha is not like Rav Meir. Now moving on to Mishnah Beis, continuing to talk about kaisher, yesh l'chak sharm she'in chayav and olam kekesher agamalin ukekesher hasapanin. There are certain knots that one would not be chayiv for making, like a person's chayiv for making a camel driver's knot or a sailor's knot. Now even though a person is not chayiv for making those knots, it's still asur midrabanan. But now the Mishnah continues with a knot which is 100% permitted. A woman could tie the opening of her garment, meaning she could tie one end of her garment over the other, and the strings of her head covering, and her belt, or to a sandal. A person could tie straps of their shoe and sandal, or flasks of wine or oil, and one can tie a top onto a pot of meat. All these scenarios, these knots, are not considered a kesher shakayama. They're going to be undone shortly afterwards, and therefore it's permitted 100% to tie them on Shabbos. Rabbi Yaakov says, a person could tie a rope in front of an animal so that it doesn't leave. It's in its stall, and it can turn around and walk out, so he could tie a rope across the entrance to the stall so that it doesn't walk out. The Mishnah continues with another case, which is the subject of the machlekes, kaishin deli bepiskia. A person can tie a bucket used for drawing water from the well with a piskia, with a strap or a belt of sorts. Avolei bechevel, but not with a rope. However, Rabbi Yehuda allows tying it with a rope. Now the reason why everyone agrees that it's allowed to be tied with a strap or this belt of sorts is because the moment he draws water from the well, he's going to untie that strap or belt because he needs it for something else. So it's not going to be kesher shal kayama. However, this rope is different. What's this rope referring to? So we're talking about a special woven rope. And even though he's not going to leave the rope tied there either, the Tanakama, who's the Chachamim, they're geyser that since we're talking about a rope over here, we're afraid that if he's allowed to tie this type of chevel, he might end up tying another type of chevel, which he might end up leaving there. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda holds that we're not geyser such a case, and therefore, according to Rabbi Yehuda, this type of chevel is allowed to be tied to this bucket on Shabbos. And Kol Rabbi Yehuda said a rule. Kol kesher she'eino shel kayama, any tie or any knot which is not going to be there forever, his intention is not to leave it there forever, ein chayav and olav, one is not going to be chayav for tying such a knot on Shabbos. We're going to stop here for the day, pick up tomorrow with Mishnah Gimel and Parak Tes Zayin Mishnah Aleph. For now, everyone should have a wonderful day.